AJ, should we be concerned? We're halfway through the window. Town haven't signed anyone. Should we be concerned? Because I know a lot of people out there are. And Heath is going on mute.
Yes, alarm bells. Everybody panic. I would be concerned about this hugely, and relegation feels inevitable. So, no. In terms of the squad, let's be honest, it is still in a really good space, and I know that parallels will be drawn with previous years with Ipswich Town, where they've moved quite quickly, but there have been real kind of gaping holes within squads. It's felt like at times they've limped towards transfer windows a bit. At least in the two that I've covered, they were in dire need of reinforcements in that championship season. They were really, really thin on the ground. And then last season in the Premier League was maybe a little bit different, but it was such a different challenge. Whereas now you look at the fact that you've got pretty much a whole squad fit. George Hurst is hopefully going to be back in the squad this weekend, and it still looks really good and really positive. Obviously, it won't last the whole season. You're not going to have everyone fit for every single game from now until the end of the campaign. There's areas within the squad that do need to be addressed. I think another striker, as everyone says and everyone feels, is going to be important still. But the fact that it hasn't been done within the first half of the January transfer window, I don't think is the end of the world by any means. I think that clearly there are ambitious targets as well in what Ipswich are trying to do, and it's maybe different to the summer. Last summer they left it a little bit too late. They went for the ambitious targets and then got to the end and were like, oh, hang on, wait, no, we need to go. And maybe it felt a little bit scrambled in some of their recruitment. But this time, with the fact they built the squad already, whereas last summer they hadn't done that, it was a huge overhaul. This month is different, where they're not trying to build the squad. They can be a little bit more picky. They've obviously got big targets. We've seen Patrick Bamford was someone they're interested in. Callum Wilson is someone who's been rumoured. Tom Kearney, of course, these are guys with lots of Premier League experience who would do well in the Championship. And if those deals don't materialise, then there will be good options at the end of this month who can add to the squad, I would say. So let's see what happens, but definitely not into panic stations. I think it's a different story to the summer, even though it might feel familiar in some ways.
Ross, do you think there's an argument that Town don't actually need to do anything, given that we saw all the problems and the trials and tribulations of bringing together basically a new side over the first half of this season? Now it feels like they've kind of got to that point where they're starting to click and gel, and they're in third, and you'd imagine they're at least going to be in the they're definitely going to be in the playoffs, I would say. And I would, sitting here now, I'd probably say they probably will finish top two. I read an excellent piece on Blue Sky from a guy called Jack Saunders, basically saying that essentially shopping in January is fraught with problems. Town, okay, they need to go out maybe and get a backup for Azor Matasiwa. That's the biggest need, but who are they going to bring in who's going to be happy to be a backup, and what kind of quality is that going to be? And then the striker, this time of year is a terrible time to be buying strikers because everyone wants one. Are they really going to be able to go out and get someone who's an upgrade on George Hurst or even Akpom and Azon? So do you think there's an argument there that clearly everyone wants transfers and everyone wants to sign strikers and this kind of thing, but do you think there's any argument that Town could actually be okay just not doing anything?
Yeah, definitely. Once again, as you just said, January is such a tough window, and as well, I think one of the reasons maybe why Town haven't done any deals just yet, because they had to get rid of players. They had to get Cameron Humphreys and Harry Clark off the books, so they can fill that 25 man squad. So you know what? The last few windows in January, I think we've always needed new bodies because of injuries or whatnot. But right now we've got a full strength team. It's the depth is incredible. So, but as you say, a lot of people just want signings. Just every window, every tweet the club will put out is like, sign this player. Where's the signing? Where's the striker? Yeah. For me, I think one thing is, just that firepower. Because sometimes you just need that one extra player to get you over the line. Because we're in the top two, third right now, but as you said, we're destined for top two, hopefully. But maybe we just need that one player, that one just little bit of spice to just kick us to the finishing line. So yeah, but I'd see the argument in terms of the squad is strong. There's only really that as all matter see were a backup where you're like, well, mate, just in case he gets that suspension, which he will. I can't see him getting to March. But we've been linked with attackers where you're like, we've got Jaden Philogene, Jack Clark doing well. You've got Sindre. Wes Burns just returned from his injury. So once again, it will just be let's just bring another player in because we can. When deep down, do we need it? But AJ moved himself, so he
yeah. I was literally going to echo that kind of point there, where the Matasiwa cover is the most important thing. Trying to sign someone that can do what he does. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult to sign someone that will be what he does to the same degree. But someone who can have some of the same traits in terms of dropping deep, picking up the ball, the interceptions, the defensive work, yada, yada, yada. As for the other positions, I mean, the others that I'd look at would be maybe a number 10, obviously a striker, but they have to be very much the right players. And I know I sound exactly like Kieran McKenna saying this, but they can't go out and sign any striker because there have to be a clear upgrade on the three that Town have. And I know Akpom is next to kick on, as on big question marks over him. And George Hurst has missed a lot of chances so far this season. But how easy is it to go and get an upgrade on those players? It's not. You can't just say, oh, well, let's go and buy Joel Peru and be done with it. Because Leeds might not want to sell Joel Peru. Or you might have another club that comes in and ultimately can offer a higher share of the wage or can offer an option or an obligation to buy. There's so many different caveats that come into it. And also, it's really hard to be a Kieran McKenna striker because you can sign a striker, let's take Peru even, who's bagged millions of goals, it feels like, in the Championship before. And if you give the ball to him, that he will put it into the back of the net. But that is only part of the job. And one thing that George Hurst is very good at, and Aslan's getting better at, and Akpom does quite well, is that it's more than that. You have to be able to bully defenders. You have to be able to hold up the ball and bring others into play. If you sign a player who literally just hangs around the goal mouth and taps it into the net when he gets the ball, that's great for him. But the whole system that Kieran McKenna has built falls apart because you have players like Jaden Philogene that relies on the work that the striker does, Marcelino Nunez that relies on the work that the striker does, the midfielders, Cinderella Ageli. And you have to very much find the balance of getting someone that you believe can score more chances than George Hurst, who I believe is, well, with Aslan has missed pretty much the most in the division so far this season, but can then also do the hard work that brings the others into the game and gets the best out of those. And is the reason why Jaden Philogene scored 10 goals in all competitions. Jack Clark's on 8. That's really difficult. And I would rather go along with Hurst, Azon and Akpom than sign someone that isn't suited to this team that might score or might be a better, quote-unquote, finisher than those players.